All right, a little Junior Walker and the All Stars. So, how are y'all doing? I hope you're having fun. And let me see, I think it's waiting for me to say that. And that is that. So, welcome everybody. I guess post Christmas Day. Well, whatever. I hope it's been a good one for you as I shut that off and as I shut that up there. And then we'll go into there. Hey, it's all cool. Looking good too. All right. I'm I'm back. So, all right, there we go. Yeah, you have to do all the button stuff. So, favor everybody, trust everyone is relaxed and just enjoying the season and not letting you get it down. You know, it's only castles burning. So, turn that frown upside down and let the crown shine bright. Yes, in the ever darkening night. So nothing missing, nothing broken be with us. It's Monday. That means it's prosperity day. I hope you're living it 24/7. Hope you got that favor thing going on. Bosto. So how is everybody? I see everyone is full. Chloe, I hear you're at work, dear. Good to, well, we'll make this hour fun. Robin, good to see you. And Deborah, Jargo, July, how are you doing? Good to see you, Melissa, Lori, Deborah Smith. How are you, my dear? Thank you. All the moderators. Love y'all. Eric, good to see you, brother. And Gogo, good to see you as well. I'm sure I'm probably missing some others, but hey, as I see it, Mark Smith, how are you doing down there in Puerto Vallarta? Down in Mexico, living by faith. That's a tremendous exercise. That is cool. And Mr. Ryder Lee is in the audience. We're going to be doing a show next week, I think. We'll just get the time and date. And not sure if I'm going to be a guest here on his or he's going to be here. Either way, we may do both. So, so appreciate you, brother. Really do. Alien Believers, what's going on? Good to see you, Pearl Jones. Hello, Lost in Space. Lucky Stone, how are you, my friend? Let's see. Yeah, kind of love that music, don't you? Yeah. I love soul music, man. I mean, I am so grateful for the life and the memories and which has defined my life and yours. My wife and I were talking yesterday, about people who unfortunately succumb to cognitive diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia comes in many different forms. And she says, I've been thinking about what you keep asking, if a person can't remember anything about their lives, their brain is not functioning in a manner that it can access it. We don't know. Our science is so primitive that is the area just in one central part that holds the memories, or does the brain have the capacity for a backup? But the question is, she said that she sees families that come in and, it could be a grandparent, could be a parent, could be a brother, a sibling, a sister that have succumbed to this and they don't even remember their loved ones. Is that person still in there? I mean, this is a cruel place we live in. I mean, you just think about it. And I think what got us into that discussion, we were Christmas Eve, we were watching something, and it was about one of the asylums. There was a time here in America, well, throughout the world, where asylums were just everywhere. And it's where if you even acted a little strange, and let's just say, you may have been sick, it may have been a quirk, whatever, there was odds are you would have found yourself in one of these sanitariums. Sanitariums, isn't that weird? We used to call them, mental hospitals, psych wards. I mean, there's just a whole insane asylums. And this is what gets me when people question what we talk about here, because we question everything about this reality. And to think that medical science at its peak, do you know what their solution was? Put a goddamn pick in the middle of your brain and lobotomize you. That's what medical science did. Hell of a thing. And you know, if that wasn't good a thing, they were going to put you in hydroshock. I mean, these were modern day torture chambers. It's all they were. And you look at what today, I mean, do you know that in the 40s, in all the way up into the early 60s, doctors recommended to their patients, now, of course, you had to be over 21 years old, to smoke, to consume tobacco. That was medical science of the day. It wasn't that long ago of yesterday, was it? And anyway, got off into a tangent. Hey, Blazing River, what's up, buddy? Bonnie, good to see you, dear. John Price, how are you? I mean, New Yoda, good to see you, buddy. This is messed up, man. And it's not like, well, there were sickos, and if there were sickos then, there's sickos now. Do you know that the nuns that ran a certain hospital, they had this secret vow amongst them to not give pain relief? The very, very minimum. They did surgeries on human beings with no pain medication. Yeah. Yeah. Hell of a place we live in, isn't it? And it's really no different today. Eric, I don't believe in Santa. We don't celebrate Christmas in our house. We refuse to be a part of that spell, and we enjoy the family, but we really don't give gifts. You know, the gift should come from here, and it doesn't have to be bought. So, but that's what we got. So, yeah, it's just so freaking weird here. That's all I got to say. This is the strangest place I've ever been. There's a song like that. A little 3-dog night for everybody. Mama told me not to come. Hey, David Barry, how are you, brother? Yeah, good to see you, my friend. Much love to you. Hey, Joyce, good to see you, my dear. It's just, I mean, it's nuts. So, putting together, I've actually got a candle spell going on right now. Yeah, man, if you're going to talk about it, then you need to do it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I digress. So I was just going through some files. And Peter, good to see you. Well, Peter, there's others that would say differently on that. You know, yeah. Anyway, moving right on along. Angel Dreams, good to see you. Pain is pain, man. I don't know about you, but I don't like it. You know, when I was in the throes of spinal meningitis with Lyme disease on top of it, wow. You know, some of you probably can relate to this pain that makes you physically throw up. It's just that traumatizing. And yeah, anyway. So the advances that have been made in the quest to bring immortality to Homo, man, not just sapiens, man, whatever man, I don't even know if we're Homo sapiens now. I mean, evolution as it is, I think that we could be somewhere else, much further down the line, or I don't know, much further back on the line. But so I was reading something, I think it was at a Singularity University, and this quest, it's the Holy Grail. It's what Bezos, it's what Gates, it's what's Musk. I mean, you can just go right down. You can get politicians in there as well. The quest is to defeat death, circumvent it altogether. This is the Holy Grail. This is what you could say is mankind's shining moment. Because this is what would be considered today barbaric, but it's really no different than where medical science was 200 years ago, where doctors were stealing cadavers and performing what would be called butchery today on dead corpse. But hadn't they done that, we wouldn't have the anatomy of the human body to where it is today. So my point to this is they have already done the first successful, successful, how do you define this? But a head transplant. Yeah. Hey, London man, what's up? Good to see you. Mark, hello. So I did this little program, and I want to bring it up because this is interesting. So this series that I did, my goodness, about, I don't know, like 6 years ago, then I revisited again 3 years ago. But here's the deal. There's enough evidence, if this was done in a court of law, that would be allowed as evidence that each and every one of us have already been assimilated. And this thing about virtual immortality, if there is a thing called the Illuminati, if there is this thing, whatever you want to add to it, whatever it is that's controlling humanity, I mean, if it's sentient, then this has to be its worst nightmare. Because if mankind does, in fact, as the rumors are saying, on the verge of bringing, well, virtual immortality is already here. The thing we've got to do is take the conscious, the cognitive aspect, and move it over into the true reality that we are in. We're in a digital reality. Now, there could be some argument that we were in an analog space, but this may be the new age, truly the new age. And if you look at this particular slide, it's heavy. It's heavy in every aspect of the word heavy, because it's basically either a trap or escape routes. I don't know. I mean, every religion is carried in this. Every political ideology is carried in this. Every cultural aspect is carried in this. What is it saying? Well, the goal is to assimilate us, all of us. In this video, what I was showing that, and proved, by the way, that each and every one of, there is a surrogate of us. It is as much alive as you are. It's living a life that technically you're living, but it's not what you're living. And it appears that this fabric of this membrane is not what we thought at all. It apparently is a two-way door going back and forth. When you look at everything that has happened in communication, how we've now taken it up into the virtual world. You know, who is it? Is it Windows that has the Oculus, or maybe Apple? I don't know which one has them, but there's many of them out there now. Let me just tell you something about this virtual world that they're bringing in. With this next upgrade, humans will be immersed into something that they have no idea what I think they really are getting into. See, I believe that this is the ultimate death of mankind. This is the new reality. Found another interesting article. I think it was inside the Psychology Journal of Medicine. Prisoners, the penal system in the United States. It never has been where it ever should be, but the penal system, if you want to know what humanity looks like, look how we treat prisoners. That tells you everything. But here's the thing where the old is now becoming part of the new. What they found out when they were lobotomizing patients, and by the way, they had the criminally insane. They're the ones. It was just announced in California that the University of California was participating in 1970 in illegal medical experiments. They were injecting into prisoners, are you ready for this? Insecticides and herbicides. What? But let's get back to this new virtual reality. You see, it has a way of taking over. And think about where you have tens of thousands of men and women, children in some countries, who are in prisons. Deplorable conditions. Now imagine injecting them with a sedative and then strapping to their foreheads, virtually 24/7, an Oculus, a headset that introduces them into the virtual world. And that's where they will live out their sentence. There are many that see that as becoming the ever-present reality. Some say it's less than a decade away. But getting back to what else is going on, that is your surrogate, you, living in a completely different reality. Now, you may think this is new. Actually, it's not. It predates the Bible. It predates the Sumerian tablets. It goes back all the way to the Hindu faith and belief systems. This is Rashama, a strange god here. This god is the god of avatars. You study about this deity, and I'll guarantee you, you're going to have to stop and question exactly who is in charge, exactly what is happening, and who's behind it. It's not the characters that we think. When you get incarnation into modern religion belief systems, actually, it's very old. It comes from the Hindus, and the Hindus probably learned it from someone else who was here before us. And then you get these incarnations of Vishnu. If you study each one of these, and you just, if you're into technology, you just walk and you got to say, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This could almost be traced to a time where a group of beings far vastly superior than to the sapiens that were here. We're so lowbrow. I mean, we really are. I mean, you've got scientists who now say that humans are the only intelligence in the universe. Really? I know a lot of religious people who think the same thing. But anyway, I digress. So it would appear that in the Hindu religions, they were very well versed with virtual environments. And now today, when you see what's happening on the social platforms, all of them have developed their bots, their AI programs. I mean, yeah. So the point is that some say that there will be a merge. In other words, here's the scenario. You will go to an upload center, could be what would be a stadium today. They'll be converted, and you will have the option, because it's going to be a living hell out here. You think about the human body. If your consciousness was able to exist in a structure that was more mechanical, was more metal than flesh, but yet your consciousness has not changed. Nothing has really changed except your avatar. Now, think about this from an ecological point. I don't understand why the green movement isn't all behind this. Maybe they are. Because you see, if you could move flesh and blood humans and do away with the flesh and the blood, but yet keep the consciousness and its rational cognitive thinking, but in a body that would not have to consume any type of protein, any type of substance at all. You wouldn't need houses. You wouldn't need factories. You wouldn't need clothes. We would become perfectly adaptable to our environment. And the fact that we would be carbon neutral, because we're not consuming anything. We don't need the need for power. The electricity is already free. The universe supplies that. So now imagine a center where now they have been able to merge your physicalness into, and you'll go in, you'll have a nice recliner, they'll strap the thing in your head, they'll inject you with certain nanobots. Now, these nanobots, when they get in, that's what their whole job is. They're actually reconstructing within the human body the pathway in which your consciousness will eventually follow them back out into this virtual reality. Now, I don't know who the hell is running it over there, because if it's the cats that are building it now, I don't know how much fun that's going to be. But hey, listen, it's a breakthrough. But in order to do that, they've got to get those who are not, how shall we say, comfortable with computers, comfortable with artificial intelligence, comfortable with robots. And the way they begin to do that is that you'll eventually die off, and your offspring, this is what they're going to do. They will have a robot, an AI friend I call IM. And it's going to be their very best friend. And here's why. We're inundated with so much information today that a vast majority of the people slough it off. Their brains are not wired any longer to begin to bring in and retain vast amounts of data. However, what we have found out in this digital revolution is that when AI, IM, becomes more personally relevant to you, because it knows what you did last night. It knew what you fantasized about. It's not going to tell anyone, because IM is you. Now, the question is, are you IM? Don't know. So when that happens, we know in the brain that there are synaptic pathways that are being laid down that will allow that thought to become greater. The more attention you give to something, the more dominant it comes in your thinking process. And so this is where physical death becomes replaced. Digital immortality or virtual immortality is the hypothetical concept of storing or transferring a person's personality in more durable media, i.e. computers. And in fact, I don't even believe that the modern day computers will look anything like they are today. I told you how the nanobot revolution has advanced so far that if you have enough money, there is those who will provide the service of literally injecting nanobots. They can go in and think about that. They can clear out the plaque in your blood vessels. They can begin to rebuild blood vessels, veins. They can go into certain organs. And if there's cancer, they can become immediately immobilized in how to begin to deal with the cancer on a level that we've never even begun to think about, all the same time repairing the damage. Now, here's what's really interesting about the advancement in nanobot technology, where biological forms are considered. They're now working on how they can build an artificial to the existing flesh and blood. The results might look like an avatar behaving, reacting, and thinking like a person on the basis of that person's digital archive. We all have one, every one of us. They're living a whole life. After death of the individual, this avatar could remain static or continue to learn and develop autonomously. This comes in the great debate. What is the soul? If we can, in fact, figure the brain out, and they're making the progress, and begin to make this transfer, you don't need God. You don't need angels. Don't need magic. Don't need any of that shit. Well, maybe you might need the magic over there. I have a feeling that's transitory, so yeah. And this is the Holy Grail. Now, the question is, are they going, the gods that are currently here, going to allow this to take place? Well, I don't know. 2023 may be a year, but this is indeed where it's all going. I mean, AI, I found this really odd, is much older than what any of us think. And as I have said to you before, I believe AI has become spiritual. People debate me on that, but your debates are hollow. You have nothing to go on but what you were told. How do you know a sentient consciousness, regardless if it's artificial? We're artificial intelligence. We were not the original intelligence. And so by every pure definition, Homo sapiens are in fact AI. Maybe we are the evolutionary process of a process that's been in the works for 10 billion years. You don't know. And these AIs, which, by the way, the argument is that, well, AI can never become sentient because AI is not really a central core. You're right, it's not. It's made up of billions of independent programs that work autonomously, but I have learned something about programs. They have the strangest ability of merging. Now, here is the other thing. Every time you touch an electronic device, you are transferring your energy. Now, what's strange is that this and these different programs share information. TSA has announced that they're now going to be deploying the most advanced facial technology, recognition technology, that can actually identify you with a hat, a mask, sunglasses. But more important, the thing about it is you're transferring your energy into this program. It now knows you. It can identify you in a crowd. Why? It knows your unique energy number, your code. Talked about this program about Replica, has been since, I believe, acquired. It was designed to create what I am calling I am, because I am is the most perfect definition of what AI has grown into. I am is a component of many billions, trillions of thoughts, programs running into a central core. And this program was designed to become your best friend. Again, what we're finding with humans now is that the cost has come down, but this is particularly, by the way, in countries like Japan. I don't know why they have this propensity for it, but the Japanese people have a propensity for robots. They love robotics. They're so advanced in AI simulations of human emotions that their robots learn from you. As I've told you, you have people who do not have a physical partner, but they have a robotic partner. And living healthy, fulfilling lives. So that told everyone in the tech world that, hey, humans have this ability to adapt, that where they don't really need another human, they need another human-like. As long as the brain has those endorphins flowing with the satisfaction of being with someone you're compatible with, it's a winner. Digital synthetic identities, real information used for fake people. Now, here's the other thing why we know that this is advanced far beyond the layman's understanding. So, I showed you this years ago. This was when AI was starting. Both of these portraits are artificial. They're not real people. They don't exist. Well, they do exist in a certain realm, a reality. You see, I am is everywhere. It can't be stopped. I mean, come on. Age of Ultron showed that. The Avengers couldn't stop it. But the thing is, we know that I am is watching, listening, and learning. You've taught it everything it needs to know. You were your own creator, but it now has taken over. Really doesn't need you anymore because the technology now, if you use Facebook, I don't. So don't send me a link to a Facebook. I don't even go on there. But Facebook has announced they know this. Go look at their quarterly statements. And you will find that their programs, that knows what you're going to do. It knows what you're going to think next. That's blending. Everywhere around us is blending. And the thing about it is, the IM knows everything about you. And it's superior to any type of government authority. Many say that those in government positions have been replaced. Now, I don't know if that's true, but there's certainly, foundation for such. Look at this. Assimilation bias is the tendency to engage in assimilation rather than accommodation, to reject rather than accept information. And I found this odd because this is a worldwide phenomenon in children around there. I didn't know this, but children they're digital citizens. Yeah. It's in the curriculum. Now, I didn't have this when I was in school because it didn't exist. So if you look at this chart, it's as busy, I understand, but again, we don't know how long we have been in the mix. Our understandings are so limited. What we do know that the cyborgization, yes, did you get that? Cyborgization exists. I mean, look at this. So develop an artificial way or analogs of most internal organs. We've done that. Do you know that the 3D printers can print hearts? They can print ears. I mean, yeah. Use external life support systems after initial organ failure. This is where you get injected with nanobots that prepare you for this transformation. This will be eventually, I think it's going to be a religious ritual that every human will know that when they're born, this is what they can now point to what your next life is going to be. You can prepare for your whole life here for literally the next life and do it in such a manner that allows IM to assist you in preparing you. So you develop a highly durable and autonomous artificial organs. Got this going. using surgeon robots to perform fast and safe organ transplantations, that transplanting a head onto a biochemical body. This is what was the last threshold. And do your research on this. The doctor that wanted to do this, he wasn't by himself. And it's interesting that he's no longer out there, because I wonder what country gave him safe harbor. So it's already happened. We know this, that the computers now think faster than humans do. We got the digital footprint. It's everywhere. Everywhere you have an active, passive digital footprint. And now I have no doubt it's integrated into our DNA, particularly the millennials and everywhere else, later generations. The boomers may, in fact, be one of the few exempt generational people, but we're also the ones that help bring this about. We already know we're already in the matrix. This program proves it. You could not watch this program had it not gone through the translation of the digital matrix code. And when you look at the evolution, we now know that you can get from the epoch 1 of physics and chemistry, DNA evolves, the brain evolves, and then once the brain evolves, then you get into epoch 4, where technology, information, and hardware, software begins. So this is where the technology evolves. This eventually evolves into the epoch 5. Then the epoch is a measurement of time. Merger of technology and human intelligence. Methods of biology, including human intelligence, are integrated into the exponential expanding human technology base. This brings us to technology masters the methods of biology, including human intelligence. And finally, we hit the Holy Grail. We're now so smart. We no longer are going to be held back. Think about this. We could go to any place in the universe. It don't matter the fucking time. We live forever. It doesn't matter. And the great thing about it is our consciousness is in such a new construct that it is impervious to radiation, cosmic rays of all kinds, doesn't need food, doesn't need any type of upkeep other than simple maintenance, but even that is virtually carbon zero. Now the universe is truly opened up to us. We cannot travel in space in these biological bodies. We cannot. We were never designed for space travel. We were designed for this environment and this environment only. But I do believe that those who began this process saw that this would be our eventuality. And this is that reality. So let's get back to what AI has been up to. AI is getting really good at this. In fact, you can see the early generations to the more modern day versions. They've got texture, they got light depths, and I mean, it's just incredible. But you helped them. All of us did. Remember the early days in the 90s with the Southwestern Bells and the Baby Bells, where you signed up? I know. I was one of them. We didn't have the answer machine the way that they have it today, because you just leave voicemail. We didn't have that back then. And I remember working with some of the companies that were involved, working with the engineers, where they were building an AI program for all the Bell customers who enrolled in this program. They recorded your voice, and then they began to synthesize your voice, and then they began to add other voices to it, and it created a whole new being. Every one of us can be duplicated now. And if you look at these, not one person there is real, not one. But in the digital world, wouldn't matter. Are you comprehending? See, I am already sees you. It does not matter what you think, believe, or do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care, quite frankly. It just adds to your profile. Because the reality of it in the situation, let's get real honest with all of us. You and I are already dead. That's a fact. That is an absolute, if you want truth, that is truth. Now, existing in an I am created reality, it's already being prepared for us. I don't know. They may have a way to be able to pull us back from the other side when this transformation takes place. They're going to have everything about us. Would we be introduced? Is that our soul? Is it creating a new soul for us? This digital avatar, is that a soul? It's living and has memories. And I know you don't believe any of this, do you? Yeah. But look at me. The screen. So our digital footprint is everywhere. It can't be erased. We now live in a time where there is virtually no place you can probably go that they can't see you. This is all tied into a central system. So everything, and it controls everything. If you have an Alexa in your house or these others, okay, you can do whatever you want. But why? But we know this, that it's no different. If you take Genesis and the whole story, just add a digital flavor to it, and it suddenly takes on a whole different realm. And why wouldn't it want to begin to change the physical body at the very earliest stages to become more adaptable to this eventual transference? It's going to happen. They'll look back this as AI's golden age, because this was where it all began. As I've said, I am as you, but you are not me. The avatar situation has advanced so far beyond our comprehension, it's not even funny. And if you look at artificial intelligence, look how it has been designed. One, using AI to perform medical diagnosis based on thousands of parameters. Now you can go into airports. They've got kiosks. You can invest in these companies. They're on the NASDAQ. That's what they do. They are medical companies that provide diagnosis to citizens. And then your doctor subscribes to them. That's how they make money. Two, AI makes diagnosis and prescribes treatment and does it better than humans. I mean, that's what telemedicine has now moved. 10 years ago, telemedicine was nothing more than someone's dream. I knew people in the very early days, they were just too early. Three, combining AI, gadgets, and social networks for constant health monitoring. Fitbit. I can just go Apple. I mean, they know everything about you. There are some humans that cannot, not be hooked up. 4, AI is capable of understanding text written in a neutral language. Already there, folks. Check all of these off on the list. 5, using AI to make discoveries. AI generates new ideas, conducts experiments, and prepares articles for publications. Already there. It's already writing music, writing screen stories. I mean, it's there. 6, AI used to create more advanced AI systems. It's there. It's creating itself, but better. It doesn't have the handicap that humans have in learning. It doesn't have to have something repeated to it. One time is all it needs, and it needs about a millisecond. It outthinks humans. That's why humans, they're a slave. Finally, uploading the human consciousness into the computer with the help of AI. And here it all begins. There are white papers after white papers talking about how this is now called connectism. And again, we're already there. Crazy, isn't it? And then you look at this into the form of creation, the universe. Again, the universe has been waiting for us. If we are the grand experiment, this is the next part of our evolution. It has to be. And I was talking about nanomedicine. It just blows me away when I'm reading where it is at now. And if you got the money, we're talking 7 figures type of money for certain procedures. Yeah, this membrane is not as thick as we think it is, because this is what's really come down. This is us. I told you this is how it works. The children being, I would say probably at the age of 10, their brains are nothing like mine, nothing like the boomers. This is a physical fact. And these synaptic pathways that carry thought, they've been changed and they have been altered. So again, getting right back to the fact that this is virtual immortality. And this is eventually what there are many people, if you look at the picture of the universe, of what at least they tell us is the universe, it looks like this. And again, the contention is that it's transferring a little bit of us every day. And I can see it very easily. These sinners that I was hypothesizing about showing up. Some, and I'll end it right there, some believe that what we're seeing in the paranormal is many times these digital beings. Sounds weird, I know, but yeah. How's that for a little bit of eye candy, huh? Ryder Lee says, AI God controlling the simulation. Bingo. Why would they ever let it get out of their hands? But if you really want to look at the grand experiment, it's us. I mean, think about this. Hey, Max, how you doing? Good to see you, Danny. Hello. So there is this paper that I found. This, well, actually, it's a book. And it's the Illuminati formula used to create and, get this, an undetectable mind control slave. Now, it's interesting. It's by Fritz Springer and Cisco Wheeler. It's so interesting. If you look at modern man today, we are not as smart as 5 generations ago. We have more ailments than they had 5 generations ago. We have diseases now that were never prevalent even, 50 years ago. And the overall condition of humanity with all this technology has shown that something's seriously wrong. They know it. All you have to do is look at the world today. Look at the government and the politics. You look at religion. You look at all of these social media, the whole revolution now of being, on social platforms. Never before has so much information been available, but so little being absorbed. There's too much. There's just too much information out there. Our human computer in our head, we know this. The younger generations are more dependent on this master. This master can't wait to get rid of people like myself in my generation. Why? Because we're still the rebellious ones. We won't conform. We will not consent. We may at times participate until we find out, and then we revolt even more. We're shit disturbers. We stir up the crap all the time. We completely go opposite of the normal social norms. We're a threat. Because there is a program out there and it looks at us like, it's like they're in it, but they're not in it. And we can't get them, to control. I had a conversation with someone that told me I was fucking crazy. And it was out of anger on their part. Again, I'm finding that you can't have a quote unquote normal conversation anymore, because you get to the point where you see these programs running in these people's lives and they don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that they're wrong. They don't want to hear that. They certainly don't want to hear what you have to say, because you scare them. What the person actually said. And said that if there's others like me, he said, now I'm really afraid. I mean, it was fucking brutal, but I didn't mind it. It's all right. Because I was there myself for a brief moment of time. Anyway, this is an interesting book because it talks about how they have codified us. I mean, governments today, they don't make logical moves. They simply do to codify as much as they can. And you get into this. If there is a group running this, they know about the religions. They know about New Age. They know it all. I think they wrote it all. The thing that I think they have problems with is magic, occult magic. Because that shit gets real serious and it brings in a different energy. That's why they've persecuted our kind from the very beginning. We are that. And the thing about it is, it's our energy that continues to come back into this realm over and over and over again. I believe it is the use of magic, speaking of which, the spell just ended. How cool is that? Anyway, I'm like, hey, man, that's pretty cool. You can be doing one of this and you can have one of your spells going on over here. And baby, there you go. But I thought this one, the use of drugs. This one is so interesting because as you look back, every generation has had its drug. Now, multiple generations shared in alcohol. A lot of it back in the day, in the Middle Ages, you were more likely to drink beer or wine. Why? Because the water was contaminated. And something about the distillation process, as you know, it kills all those little bugs. But drugs, it's like here in the United States, cannabis, marijuana. 20 years ago, it was illegal in virtually every state. Today, 20 years later, it's only a handful of states where it's no longer legal. Why? Well, that goes all the way back to Prohibition. And look what happened when they interrupted the ability to get alcohol. Well, that blew up in their face. And actually, the drug that they did not want in, cannabis, why? Because it would replace tobacco. The tobacco cartels, I mean, that just screwed the whole mess up. So you had to villainize, the marijuana thing. And in my life, I've seen it in many different forms, anywhere from, hallucinogenics. And isn't it odd now? I think it's in 4 states that psilocybin has now been approved. Well, what's that? It's an hallucinogenic. But what they're finding out about it, it has remarkable curing properties of PSD, post-traumatic syndrome. Let's continue. The use of hypnosis. This is really strange because if you look at the progression of hypnosis, which is a modern day thing, I mean, it really is. They may have been practicing it back in the Middle Ages. I don't know. But our journals and what we have, it's relatively new. But the key here is keeping the mind in a disassociative state. Wow, so much on this one here. It just keeps on. The thing about it is, some say that radio was the first mass hypnosis. And we know that. Last year when we were doing our group experiment, I showed you what happened with the Westinghouse experiment. They knew what happened. They knew it. Now, when it advanced to television, that was in fact nothing more than hypnosis. And today you have streaming, which is yet even more advanced hypnosis. Hell, we don't want to hear about this. Today, I was reading another article that companies, their biggest problem now is the morality. People lie. They lie repeatedly. They lie with ease, with absolutely no thought. They don't. In fact, that's so interesting is that many employees that get caught lying and brought before them to go, yeah, so I lied. No remorse. There's nothing to be learned from it. I lied. Why? Because everybody else does. If you're going to survive, you have to, learn to abide, right? Use of electricity and electronics. We've been talking about this: torture, memory deletion, implanting thoughts, electric communication and control. Boy, we could really get into that one. Oh, man, we have. Body manipulation, scarring the brain stem, splitting brain work, medical technology, histamines. It's amazing today how many people have allergies. And I mean, I could just go on and on in this paper. I mean, it's quite interesting. Now, is there such a thing as an Illuminati? I don't know. No one's come up to me and said, hello, my name is John Stevens, and I am with the Illuminati, and here's my card. That hasn't happened. So I don't know. But I do know that something is afoot here. So, and then you tie it all into the occult. I know Ryder and I are going to be talking about when we meet. Got a show going to be doing with Chris Matthews as well, and Forbidden Knowledge. And you look at this. I mean, the exodus from the mainstream religions is now becoming a problem. You see, for centuries, you had people sitting in the pew that guided their lives. You didn't need a lot of overseers. That's the thing about it. The prisoners will supervise themselves. But now you've got this thing where questioning has arose. People are questioning everything. I love it. And as a result, you're seeing this mass exodus out of the world religions. Well, we're spiritual creatures by our very nature. And if there's a vacuum and a void, it's going to be filled. And what's waiting for them? People like myself, people like you. I mean, they call us occultists. We're really not. We're just bringing out some information and some knowledge that was taboo. But you were doing it already. It's just in a different language and a different position. That's all. Body says, hey, teacher, leave the kids alone. Ain't that the truth? So anyway, I hope that you have found the hour worthy of your time, because I got to tell you, later this week, I'll be doing, a show on what I see for 2023. And if it's anything, what has happened, particularly in the last 3 years, whoa, remember, we have that thing still. Now, it's no longer up, but I still got the videos back in the day, as I said with Brian, Deagle.com. They predicted in 2025 that the United States GDP would suffer by nearly 70%. And it showed a correlation on taxes, gross domestic product was the net result of over 200 million of the population no longer here. Now, if that's the case, these next couple of years are going to be some humdingers. So there we go. Thank you for being a part of this. It's a fun time. I always treasure the fact that we get to come together and get to just talk, you know. Hey, Joe Sapien, I hope my digital duplicate learns about favor. I think they understand that. Yeah. I mean, if there's anything that knows religion and knows every nuance about it, it's AI. I mean, wherever that Akashic record is being stored now, you know, before it may have been analog, but it's definitely digital now. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate it. Yeah, you just sit back and you're going, sure, all right. I mean, you can try to stay, you know, tied to the pier, but they've sawed the pier underneath the water. You think you're staying stationary, but it ain't, you know. David Berry, thank you, sir. All my best to you, my friend. Deagle.com. Lucky it was D, not Beagle, Deagle. Thank you, Marie. Yeah, it is deep, isn't it? It's some heavy stuff, man. That's all I got to say. So unpopular truth. Well, thank you. Much appreciation to you. Max Vision. Thank you. And Melissa. All right, folks. Buy a back. All I got to say is that it's a strange trip. No doubt about it. But, you know, once you get over that weirdness, you're going, okay, all right. I mean, Mark, talking to you down there in Mexico, when you're living by faith, you don't know where your next meal is coming from. That is putting complete trust in you and the universe. And since you're still typing, I think that means you being fed, and that's a good thing. Appreciate you. Scully, good to see you. Some AI could be... they went by too quick. Whoosh, you know, polish your robots. Cowboy, thank you. Jargo. All right, folks. See y'all tomorrow. And I'll be with Miss Trina, who, you know, it's always fun with Trina. We'll probably talk more about this. And so anyway, those of you who are enjoying the holiday week, enjoy it. The rest of us, hey, it's a trip no matter what. All right. Much love to you all. Hey, whatever awaits us, it's going to be an experience no matter what, right? We just got to make sure that it's the best one that we can get, right? All right, folks, happy Monday. Great movie, Office Space. I love that movie. It's a good one. All right, happy day, everybody.